Welcome to the Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Well, this week we head to Cheyenne County in the northwestern corner of the state where the talk was water. One of the important water compacts involves the Republican River from Colorado through Kansas into Nebraska. We'll talk with the director of the Kansas Water Office, Tracy Streeter, and get his thoughts on the meeting with the stakeholders. Also, Don Brown, the Colorado Director of Agriculture, will talk with us about what this agreement means to his state and the other water challenges that Colorado is facing. We'll also have reports from the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Department of Agriculture, along with the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors. Ag News in a moment, here on the Kansas Ag Report.
Closed captioning brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
With the North American Free Trade Agreement renegotiation effort now complete, the Trump administration is expected to turn its trade attention to China and its neighbors. Reports suggest the U.S. should follow the template from the NAFTA talks to engage with Asia-Pacific trading partners and revise the dream of building a new rules-based trading bloc to counter China. Now, that was previously the goal of the Trans-Pacific Partnership that President Trump removed the U.S. from upon him taking office. An opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal suggests that the U.S. should follow suit in an Asian trade market as part of a goal of boxing out China. Now, trade talks are set to begin between the U.S. and Japan very soon, marking a potential start on the region. The Kansas Farm Service Agency is hiring at several county office locations around the state. Applications currently being sought for full-time permanent county program technicians in several offices. Now, the county program technicians responsible for carrying out office activities and functions pertaining to the technical assistance and program supports related to FSA farm and farm loan programs. Basic requirements will include general office clerical work, record keeping, computer skills, be organized, also be good at public relations. The position vacancy announcement posted online at usajobs.gov. The application deadlines are fast approaching. And USDA's National Ag Statistics Service has announced that data from the 2017 Census of Agriculture will be released on February 21st next year. That's in conjunction with the 2019 Ag Outlook Forum. More than 70% of farmers responded to USDA's 2017 Census of Agriculture. Now, that's down from the previous response rate of 74.5%. One USDA official noted that the agency made it easier to fill out the questionnaires this time around, but did concede it's unrealistic to think that everyone will respond to any survey. All census data products will be available online, nas.usda.gov/ag census. We head to the northwest corner of the state when we return on the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
We're on the road near Cheyenne County, meeting on water, and joining us is Don Brown, who is the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Colorado. And obviously, if we're in Cheyenne County, that means we're probably talking about what's going on the Republican River. So, Commissioner, we want to talk about why you were at this meeting and that we have come to some sort of agreement and the way the negotiations have been over the years is not what they are today.
Well, and of course, I'm from Yuma County, which is just right across the border, so to speak, and my great-grandfather homesteaded out south of Woodston, Kansas, so I'm very familiar with Kansas. Also very familiar with St. Francis here. I remember coming down here and getting beaten pretty badly in football, so that I do remember. The water is what we've all decided, and really at the end of the day, is litigation makes no more water. It doesn't make any more water. It just makes expensive legal bills. And at the end of the day, this is very much a regional economy out here where we're at. We've got Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. We're a regional economy. With a little town that I'm from, Yuma, I have a lot more in common with St. Francis, Kansas than I do Denver.
Well, let's talk about water in Colorado. A lot of times us in Kansas focus on the Republican and maybe the Arkansas that comes in down south, but we all know from a arm's length that Colorado's had its water challenges as well, even within the state.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is not anything new, and Colorado's water laws, first in time is first in right, was really put in there in the Colorado Constitution by the miners who didn't want somebody diverting water around their sluice box so they couldn't pan for gold. So this thing's been going on in Colorado since the mid-1800s, and now we're seeing a lot of it went to agriculture. Then agriculture purchased the water. It's very much a water. You can own the water in Colorado, or the right to own the water. You have a right to use the water. I guess a better way to say that, you own the right to use the water. And consequently, we're seeing a lot of urban pressure, and they can pay more for water than farms and ranches can, farmers can. And so that's creating pressure all the time on our agricultural communities.
Now, this meeting in St. Francis, Kansas, had to deal with the South Fork of the Republican, and a lot of focus from those in attendance was on Bonnie Reservoir and how to make that viable once again. Is that something that might actually come to fruition again?
Well, as far as we're concerned in Colorado, of course there's two or three things, but we have no problem putting the plug back in it. Our problem right now is we have to stand the evaporation against how the compact agreement's written, and if we can work that out so we don't have to stand the evaporation loss, we're glad to put the plug back in it. We understand the need for it out here. We think it's important. We don't have many recreation opportunities out here, particularly involves water, and so consequently, yes. So I think we've come a long ways on that. I would hope that it happens.
All right, Don. Well, good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I always enjoy coming back to where my great-grandfather homesteaded. So.
Don Brown, who is the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Colorado, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Joining us now is Tracy Streeter, the director of the Kansas Water Office. And Tracy, we're out here, more meetings of the South Fork of the Republican River and some movement, really just discussing with stakeholders on what to do with some money coming from Colorado.
That's correct, Ken. We entered into an agreement. The Attorney General and the Governor of Kansas agreed with their counterparts in Colorado on a $4 million agreement that would put $2 million in the South Fork on the Colorado side and $2 million on the Kansas side on the South Fork to enhance flows. We're interested in seeing programs on the Colorado side put the use that will enhance flows in the South Fork of the Republican and get to the state line. And then we want the $2 million on the state line, on the Kansas side, to focus on our water users here, that we can enhance efficiency and better water management to make sure we have a better opportunity to take good use of those flows that we receive from Colorado.
Although it's not a big area, it has implications for all three states of the Republican Compact.
Absolutely. It's all part of the big basin, the North Fork and the South Fork. But one of the things we heard from our water users early on is that, as we look at the Republican Compact as a whole, we felt like South Fork didn't get enough attention. And that's really been the focus of the state team in Kansas on the South Fork, was to make sure that we were taking some steps alongside with Colorado to better manage the South Fork and take care of the water users on that branch of the Republican.
So is this primarily focused in on users right directly on the river, or anybody within the basin of the South Fork?
Well, it would be those affected by the river itself, the South Fork. So it's going to really affect the adjacent groundwater users and any surface water users we have on the South Fork.
Okay. So I guess where's the status? Where does it go from here?
Well, this was really kind of the kickoff. We're awaiting the dollars to arrive in Kansas into the state treasury, and the water office is charged under the statute of administering those dollars. So that's why we have a bigger involvement in this. But as soon as the dollars arrive, then we'll have the dollars in hand. But the important step is to take the survey and the surveys that we collect and the feedback we got today, and we're going to form a stakeholder group along with our upper Republican Regional Advisory Committee to get kind of a sounding board group that can work with us on more of a frequent basis to really put together a game plan on how these dollars would be best utilized.
I had a pretty good turnout today of interested stakeholders and some good feedback. Was it kind of what you expected?
It was, and I really was. When you have a meeting of agricultural producers primarily in early October, it's maybe not a good time to have that. But we had conditions today, and folks I think could spend the morning with us. So we were pleased with that. And the thing that really strikes me every time I come out here is that really we talk about Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado, compact in everybody's piece of the pie, but when you talk with stakeholders out here, they don't see the state lines. They do business on all sides of the state line, and really we got to come up with a plan that really is in the best interest of what people want in the region.
All right, Tracy, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Tracy Streeter, the director of the Kansas Water Office, joining us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm & Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm & Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
Farmers in eastern Kansas planning to campaign for a seat on one of the state's 5 commodity commissions, including the Kansas Soybean Commission, should be gathering petition signatures to meet the November 30 filing deadline. The 2019 election will cover District 7 in the northeast, 8 in the east central part of the state, and 9 in the southeast. At least one soybean incumbent will not actively seek re-election. To be included on a commission ballot, a candidate must have grown that commodity within the last 3 years and gather 20 signatures from eligible voters, with no more than 5 from one county. Eligible voters are Kansas residents who are 18 before the election, have grown the commodity within the last 3 years, and are registered to vote with the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Candidate registration packets are available from the department and the commodity commissions. Get more information from KDA at 785-564-6700 or agriculture.ks.gov on the web. Soybean candidates also can call 877-KS-SOYBEAN or visit kansassoybeans.org/commissioners. The Kansas Soybean Commission, established in 1977 and headquartered in Topeka, includes 9 volunteer farmer commissioners elected by their peers. They oversee investments of the legislated soybean checkoff assessment in projects to improve the profit opportunities for all Kansas soybean farmers. What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Collaborative efforts are at play in Kansas agriculture in a major initiative that could change the beef industry across the nation. From the earliest discussions of the Agricultural Growth Project, cattle disease traceability was identified as a top priority for the beef industry based on input from industry partners. While the concept of traceability is not new, there has been a mindset shift in recent years. Historically, concerns about technology, privacy, and economic costs have been a challenge, but these recent discussions indicated that industry stakeholders recognize the need for a viable end-to-end cattle disease traceability system, which provides critical tools to manage a disease outbreak and may provide opportunities to add value to the industry. Following the vote by the Kansas Livestock Association in December 2017 to support a mandatory cattle disease traceability system for all ages of cattle, Kansas requested and secured funding, and we announced the rollout of Cattle Trace, a traceability pilot program, in June. Since that date, 14 feed yards, 7 livestock markets, and all 3 major packers in Kansas have committed to participate in this multi-phased initiative to trace at least 55,000 Kansas-based animals through the entire beef supply chain. Ultra-high frequency technologies will be utilized to collect data in a simple and hands-free manner to capture the minimal necessary data points for disease traceability. Logistical elements of the pilot project will be evaluated along the way, and a later phase will evaluate the cost and benefits at the overall industry level and at the producer levels. In August, the first reader was installed in Montezuma, and they are now functioning at multiple locations in the state. And in the interest of data security, which is a top concern for producers, the program has been established as a private entity and is named a board. If you're interested in learning more about Cattle Trace or participating yourself, find out more at cattletrace.org or follow along with the progress of the project on Twitter at CattleTrace.
The third installment of the year-long educational experience for the 2018 KLA Young Stockman's Academy was held September 17th through the 19th. Mush Rush Red Angus near Strong City hosted the first stop for a look at the family's registered Red Angus cow-calf operation. The Mush Rush family uses data management and performance testing extensively, with trait emphasis on calving ease, maintenance energy, and stayability. While in the area, the group also visited the Tall Grass Prairie Preserve north of Strong City, where they participated in a discussion about the importance of prescribed burning to the Flint Hills ecosystem. In western Kansas, Pokey Feeders Assistant Manager Grant Morgan highlighted the yard's water reclamation system. The Scott City Feed Yard was the first in Kansas to recycle overflow water as part of its conservation efforts. Reeve Cattle Company of Garden City served as a stop, with current KLA President Lee Reeve providing a tour of the feed yard and adjoining ethanol plant. At Noble Dairy near Garden City, manager Will Basham talked about the dynamics of the 2,500 head dairy, which produces 4 truckloads of milk per day. Dodge City Veterinary Clinic practitioner Chad Kerr stressed the importance of having a good relationship with a veterinarian. The trip also included a tour of the National Beef Packing Plant at Dodge City. The 20 members of this year's KLA Young Stockman's Academy class will gather for one final session November 28th through the 30th at the KLA Convention in Wichita.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. The Walking Dead is a popular TV show about an apocalyptic zombie world. The zombie world paints a hellscape that provides many challenges for the show's characters to overcome. The allure of the show for me is watching the changes in the characters take place. The ones that survive to this point are calloused and battle-hardened. They aren't afraid to do what must be done to survive. Now, what does that have to do with grain marketing? Well, we are several years removed now from the easy street era of marketing, where extremely high prices made the farm life comfortable in a way that few have ever seen. Now we live in a world where break-even prices aren't the bottom level of acceptance. They are the goal to get to for making a sale sometimes. The days of an inverted bull market have been replaced by extreme record carry in all 3 major grain commodities. That carry is the never-ending supply of zombies, always there, slowly moving towards you, requiring action be taken, but never moving fast enough to make you think it has to be right now, at this moment. Then one day you wake up and it's harvest time and you're confronted with a herd of zombies at your front door in the form of horribly wide harvest basis combined with low futures prices. You must deal with the problem before it's on your doorstep. One of these years, things are going to change and there will be a crop failure somewhere that spikes prices higher. But right now there are zombies, and December 19 corn for next year is sitting near $4 on the board. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a great day.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking Agview on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow Agview News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Closed captioning brought to you by The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org. Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm and Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm and Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us at KansasAgReport.net or on Facebook and Twitter. You can also hear past Kansas Ag Reports podcast form at castbox.fm. Search Kansas Ag Report, then subscribe. Well, we thank you for watching the Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. We'll see you next week.